there's one final portion of the interview that I want to show you guys, and this has to do with Donald Trump's mental health. Of course, there have been, there has been some speculation about whether or not he's dealing with any mental health issues. I feel uncomfortable speculating about that, not a mental health expert, but they touch on that topic in this interview, so let's take a look.
The president's close advisors, people around him, have noticed him repeating stories, expression for expression, you say, within a short period of time.
In a shortening period. So they've all tracked this, that it used to be, I know people would point out that in the beginning it was like every 25 or 30 minutes you would get the same 3 stories repeated. Now it's the same 3 stories in every 10 minutes.
Oh, and what's the suggestion there? Because that goes beyond saying, okay, the president's not an intellectual. I mean, what are you arguing there? You say, for example, that he was at Mar-a-Lago and didn't recognize lifelong friends.
I will quote Steve Bannon, he's lost it.
That's interesting. I mean, Congress was briefed by a Yale, did you cover this already?
No. A Yale psychiatrist.
A Yale psychiatrist. Some members of Congress were all Democrats on the president's mental acuity, right now. It's hard to do that from afar. It's almost, illegal. It is illegal for someone to actually make a diagnosis from afar. But they're briefing because they're trying to add a codicil to the 25th Amendment that says that there has to be a way of judging the mental capacity of the president.
Yeah, so I'm torn on this one because, not recognizing old friends, that raises an eyebrow. But that's one anecdote, as opposed to the rest of the book that is like on his lack of intellect and lack of interest in learning anything. There's 1,000 anecdotes.
Yeah.
And so. And part of the reason I'm torn is not because I've got any interest in defending Donald Trump. Quite the opposite. He's always been really, really stupid. So like this new twist, I'm serious. This new twist where people are like, oh, I don't know if he understands things anymore. What do you mean anymore? I've never known Donald Trump in public to understand anything. He's always had wild, insane conspiracy theories. He's never known a thing about policy, never cared to know anything about it. He's never had any intellect. I mean, this goes all the way back to, it's one of my favorite anecdotes, his accountant, when they asked him about Donald Trump, he said, oh, he never asked any questions. He just said, make my taxes lower. I don't know. And his wife, Ivana, would ask a bunch of really intelligent questions. The accountant was trying to defend him. And then they asked about his dad. And he was like, no, his dad was really smart. Like, no, Trump's always been an intellectual little person. Okay, so on the whole, he's losing it. But hey, look, if people hang on to that to use the 25th Amendment,
Yeah, well, let me just say, separate from Trump, completely separate from Trump, I think that should be a part of our Constitution. I think making sure that the mental health of the president is incredibly important. And remember, most of the time, people running for president are older. And it's a natural part of life. As you get older, you do lose memory and certain things do happen, okay? But one other thing that I wanted to quickly mention, she specifically touched on the fact that he keeps repeating the same stories within the same brief period of time. And I don't know if he's always done that, but if that is a serious thing that's happening, then I don't know how you move forward.
Well, I mean, it's habitual too. I mean, he was on the campaign trail and you'd follow him on the trail. You go from event to event to event. He'd say the exact same things, make the same jokes, and that's what they do.
Right.
Because there's only so much material they can come up with. And it may have programmed this guy.
Yeah, he's always repeated things. I'm not worried about that either. But look, and I'm a little worried about using the 25th Amendment because I'm worried about the precedent. Then all the parties are always going to question the intellectual capability of an older president.
You worry about the precedent more than you worry about the president.
In that case. But on the other hand, Jamie Raskin is leading this movement in Congress, and it's at least something we should begin to study.
Yeah.
Because it does happen, and so we don't know that it's happened here. They should look into it. I don't know how you would assess it, but if it did happen, which is certainly within the range of possible, well, that's a real serious issue, no matter Democrat or Republican, for the country if the president no longer has his mental faculties such as they were. If you want to get the whole Young Turks show every single day, become a member, tytnetwork.com/join. And once you do, you'll be saying,
I'm like a smart person.
Or you might say,
I think it's weird.
Or you might say,
oops.
No, that won't be that one. It won't be that one. It'll be great, trust me. TYTnetwork.com/join.